Hello guys, and welcome to another video of the recaps series. So last time, as you see, we have played Team Iran in Game 7, and that was our first team loss. I drew against Barrier in also a very tough game, right? In Game 8, we met Team Norway. I could just tell you, in round 7 we lost, but when the team knew that we would play Norway, and my compatriot Lemley will play Manus in board 1, the whole team was pretty happy. They was like, oh my goodness, okay, so it's like a nice thing here, so we play him in, you know, on the board rounds, and it was so damn epic. So, but sadly, in the match, my teammate lost in the first board against the god, I guess. But I managed to beat Tari Arian with the white pieces in board 3 in order to secure a draw for my team with the result 2-2, with board 2 and board 4 both a draw. So that game is also pretty nice, considering that I was able to beat a 26-40 with white pieces, but I think it should be, I want to do some recaps of some most memorable rounds, some games that I think is like important, so I will skip the round and we'll do round 9 instead, when I managed to, play with a very strong player, I think who is considered a legend, and also who I think is considered to be the world's strongest amateur player, because Luke McShane is also doing jobs in another aspects, right? So obviously here, so it is a tough match again for us. When in after round 8, you can see here, okay, so let me show you here as well too. So right here we are 7th place after round 8, when Team India just won on the games, right? Uzbekistan, after losing against us, they got to 2nd place, and we, after losing against Team Iran, no, actually after drawing Team Norway, we got a 7th place with pretty good tie breaks. But yeah, the scores is the most important thing, right? So in round 9, we'll play against Team England, and they feature some strong players. I think they got David Howell, they got V2 Golf in the first board. I think second board they should get I believe the legend Mickey Adams. Board 3 they got David Howell. Board 4 they got Luke McShane, and board 5 they got, I think, Owen Jones. But in the match with us, David Howell just rest, and I will play with the legend Luke McShane with the black pieces. Let's go to the game right away. And this game is also a game I was pretty proud of. So don't push it up anymore. Let's start it. So in the game, he played e4. Against McShane, it actually was fairly, simple compared to other games to prepare, because McShane, for the last couple of years, he only played e4 for white. e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop e5. And here in the game, I play a very realized with black pieces, bishop c5. This thing is not that a bad line. The engine don't like it, but for me, I find that interesting and not that easy for white to really claim an edge, especially if you don't know theories well. But I think I'm quite sure that this line will become common pretty soon. Maybe in like a few months or so, when some players might play for black. When I prepare this, I realize this is actually, something white can gain an edge, but not so easy, and also an interesting line to get out of some kind of well-known territory. So here the main line for white is castles, c3, knight c3, c3 is normally considered the main line. I will not talk much about the variation because it is my opening and I really want to maybe use that some more times, so I think it's gonna be unwise to talk and to leak my preparation out here on the recaps. I generally hope that someday, some point, I may be able to give you some other recaps on my channel when I'm able to use that again to be some strong players, right? It's gonna be a cool thing. Let's go to the game. So in the game, he played castles. 34. Threaten both the knight and the bishops. 34, bishop takes. c3, bishop b6 here. d4, c6. So here we can play both this and this. At some point even this. But here, when I prepare for the game, I remember that Luke McShane, he got a game when he played against an engine around 12 years ago. When I played bishop a4 and knight a3. So I mainly prepare for it. In the game, my opponent played exactly like that. Bishop a4, d6, knight a3. So here, I'm sure in that game, the engine plays some like knight f6, I forgot. I think she would like knight f6, I believe. But in the game, after some work at home, I deviated and I went, I think, for an objectively stronger line, which is proved by the silicon friend. ed4, cd4, and knight 7. You can see here that I spent quite, not much time here on the clock, right? In fact, I gained extra 4 minutes. So here, if I play against Mickey Adams, this line might not be working because I think Mickey would know the main line, which is d5. But in the game, I was prepared for basically everything. My opponent thought here for a long time, and he played knight c4. He thought for around 20 minutes. So I play bishop c7 and threaten b5. Here, I'm pretty sure what I prepare, I think, is knight to e3 or something like that. But in the game, my opponent played bishop b3, which obviously made me get out of my preparation. I have no idea what's going on. But obviously, I knew that it was not really what the engine suggested, and it should be good for me, because in some of the lines I prepared, this one doesn't exist. So in the game, I spent a long time here. I tried to ask myself, why did he play this and what did he want? So here, I think at first, I spent a long time hitting my castles, but I found this one very annoying. I don't like it at all. The pin here can become annoying and I don't know how to deal with this. I find d5 and go for this kind of symmetrical pawn structures available, but in the game I don't want to go for this. Also, I believe I find like d5 as well too. When takes here, also completely equal in my opinion, like here castles and we're okay. But I knew I was fine here. So I had some thought. I decided like, okay, maybe it is an interesting option to keep on playing for more and trying to get some chances probably first before maybe opting for a draw. So after some thought, I think like 30 minutes, I play d5. Okay, so I thought for 25 minutes. Takes, knight takes. Rook e1 will be useless because I can just play bishop e6 here. And now, as you can see, for instance, this here, right? And this, for instance, and now I will got a very strong bar in the center. This pawn can become a weakness, and black will surely be the one who get a long-term initiative. So in the game, you play knight to e3, which is also what I expected here as well. Trying to challenge my knight right away will be the best way here to go for an edge. In the game, I also realized that castles can give me easy equality because take here, and then this both pawn can be weak. I guess I can be somewhat worse, like super slightly worse, but it's not something I can't defend. But once again, somehow I wanted to go for more. I guess to explain this decision, I need to tell you that at this point of the event, I was, I think, pretty hyped. Like, I was really on a roll with some strong players. I got the performance up, I think, like 2700 plus, and I just beat Tari in the last game. So I was quite confident, like much more confident compared to normal situation. I guess that in a normal game or maybe in an individual tournament, I might just go for bishop here and then go for, go for here and go for a draw. But somehow in this event, I always, or most likely, will go to the game with a fighting spirit. Knight 4, I play. So, this move here, I think you can see that it is a sign that I want to go for some activities, right? So, my knight look directly on his king side and try and go for the attack. This one is objectively a mistake because the engine claimed that white can be better with g3, knight h3, king g2, knight g5, and h4, which for me is very hard to be seen and to be evaluated. Because with this one, you allow me to go here, right? And I can even win an exchange, like here and this and this. And the engine claimed that white is slightly better here. Without an engine, can you think about that, right? So this one I think is really hard to be played in an on-board game. So in the game, he played d5, trying to push the pawn and trying to just exchange the witness in the center. Because, for instance, if you play like say h3, right, I can play queen d4, for instance. When you play here, I can play here and win back the queen, right? Apparently, he can play knight d5, when my threat will be completely, gone, and I will be losing material. Like here, for instance, takes, and now we are, I think, dead loss. But I can just like castles, and obtain a good edge at this point. So as you know, we got a position where this pawn here is an isolated pawn, right? And it is quite clear that if nothing I can do, if I can do nothing to my positions, if I can be able to develop properly, I will be able to claim some sorts of edge at this point. So in the game, d5, fair enough. Castles. So here, I think for a long time, I understand right away that my king is in the center, and I also looking for some chance, looking for some tactics. But sadly, none of them work. First of all, I calculate queen h4. I will show you all my thoughts. g3, knight h3 or something like that, g2, and then I don't see what's going on. Also, after a while, I realized he can play d6 and close the diagonal when I will be in huge trouble. Obviously here, I will just hope for like something like this one, for instance, right? When you can see a tactics. Yes, knight e2 and mate h2. But yeah, he will never fall for that, right? So queen h4 doesn't work. I also dream of queen to d6. Setting up battery on this diagonal when they here allow knight h3 or knight e2 with literally the same idea. But once again, he won't fall for it. He can just play maybe like rook to e1, for instance, or I think just simply g3. And once again, I don't see what I can achieve from this, and king g2, and then I can just take here only one time e1, and I don't see any real things I can do as well too. So here, after some thought, I was just like, okay, let's just castles. So here in the game, he thought for a very long time, and he made a move that I was kind of astonished. He played g3. He thought for around 20 minutes. It is only move 15, and he started to think for quite a long time. Here, so obviously what I mainly considered is that he will play d6. So I can tell you for sure that in the game I calculate queen g5, which is, I think, not that a precise move, but I think also quite an interesting one, but we'll talk later on. Even taking here will also give me, I think, an acceptable game. Here, for instance, let's say knight to e2, and here I play here. And then, although it's not so easy, but I got a position where I have bishop pair, right? And I might dream about some kind of long-term initiatives. Maybe, I don't know, maybe not. I can also play queen to f6, which I think is the engine preference here. Because here I can play like rook d8, I can play knight h3 at some point or playing here, but I see knight d5. So threats, threats, and this, I guess I'm doing fine here as well, but after queen g5, I just don't see much at this point. So in the game, I spent some time to conclude queen g5 with the dream of if play here, I play here, and I got an incredibly strong attack in these diagonals, right? You can see the bishops here as like two snipers that are looking directly on the white king side. Also here, if you play something like, let's say, rook e1, I can just play knight h3 and king f1 is forcing, right? I get like queen h4, and this is also very dangerous here to face, I think so. Also, even in the list cases, I think I expect him to play something like g3, when I believe my plan is to take the pawn. And then the knight here is, you know, safe because it can spin, right? And then I can jump here whenever I want. What I expect him to play is queen f3, when in the game, I think, if I was not mistaken, I calculate bc6. When queen here doesn't work because of, I think, knight e2 and this very famous Anastasia idea. But I think he will likely to play g3, so I will play like knight h3 and then queen to, I think I planned queen to here, I believe. I don't know, it's what I planned in the game, but it was so long time ago, I forget about that. But obviously I think I can be able to have some edge, right? So queen g5 is what I will play. If you play this, I guess g3 is the best thing you can do, but it should be okay, as we mentioned earlier, right? So in the game, he played g3 first. For me, it is not like a bad move, I guess, but it will get the game into different kind of things. Somehow I can make a prediction that he wants to still play this move here at some point, which is what I can probably guess. Maybe I'm wrong. Knight h3. So king g2 can be knight g5, isn't it? But once again, this square can become weakening. If he didn't play that earlier, so I don't expect him to play king g2 here. So king h1, fair enough. Queen f6. Put pressure on this pawn, and obviously, there's no activities. So here, the thing I want to tell you about this position is that although it's not so clear and although I'm not up so much material, his pieces are somewhat passive, and I can dream about getting some attack in the king side. Also, these light squares here are clearly vulnerable, right? And I can think about put pressure there as well too. So in the game, he played f4, which I can more or less predict. I don't know, like somehow. So f4 is not what the engine appreciate, but in the game, I only can think of f4. Right now, sitting in front of the silicon friend, that I know, okay, white is actually fine after like f3, but once again, for me, it looks so unnatural. Like, why don't you play f4? Like f4 here, he also want to trap my knight and bury it alive, right? But I guess, you know, it may not be working with some curriculum from my side. In the game, rook e8. Activate the rook here, get the open file, and prepare to attack the knight. So now I think you can see a clear weakness is this diagonal, right? So I'm dreaming about getting the bishop to here and here. So if I can play here, take here, and then this one, I can be able to claim a huge edge. But in the game, I realized that this one is wrong because of d6. And this one doesn't work because of d7, right? So sadly, I cannot really do this. So I need to play here first, which I think is the right move order. Queen f3, bishop b6. Now I got a super clear plan, which is this and this, right? It is surprisingly hard to be stopped somehow. For instance, this, so takes, and here, right? And now I think this is getting close to dead loss, because he cannot defend this one easily, and his pieces are incredibly loose. So here I think this is hard to play already. The engine recommended g4, but I would surely play here, here, takes, and win a pawn, right? Win a pawn, his structures is pretty terrible, and I think here I should be able to convert. Hope so, obviously. But in the game, he thought for a very long time here, and he played f5. You can see here that he went down on time very badly. But sadly at this point, he just went so down on time, he couldn't convert, and he couldn't really find best defense anymore. So here I also spent some time. Wait a time, right? So I want to understand what he wants. First of all, he prevented my h5 move. Second, his queen can go to f4 if my knight chases queen. So in the game, after some thought, I fully understood his plan. Something like knight g5, queen f4, rook e4, and then knight g4. When I think he can probably try to defend here, because my pieces are also quite hanging. But in the game, if you play this, I did calculate the best line, which I'm pretty proud of. h6. Defend the knight first. If you play knight g4, I get queen f5, exclamation mark, with a huge edge. Because if you play here, here, he can't take because of the mid on g1, isn't it? So in the game, I think the main line is something that I spent a long time to calculate is h6, h4, and I think knight e4. In g2, and I can play like bishop d7, I think so, this one. When I don't see, a straightforward win, but we should have an edge because of more active pieces, and his king is also much more weakened. But in the game, he was so down in time, and he went straight. Knight g4, takes, takes the knight here as well, take here, e1, g2, checks. Okay, so here I'm so up on time. I spent a long time here to find a way to finish the game cleanly. So first of all here, so I obviously consider bishop d7, right? And get my bishop and rook as well too. But I was not fully convinced by rook f1. You know, the engine believes that I can play here, then play here, when I win a pawn with a much more active and stronger pieces. But I must admit that I was not just content with a pawn up, and I want to exploit his clock as well. So in the game I play rook g1 first. And here I'll not play this because now this one is unavailable for the time being. So in the game, he once again trying to play that, which is c4, but then rook e8. The main problem for him is that if you play like something rook f1, right? Not only I can just play this rook e1 with I think a very strong position, but also I can just play here. And you can see that now my rook gets to where I want, right? With I think a commanding edge. But in the game, he didn't find the best defense here, which is this. It's like good or bad. He must try that at the end of the day, right? But he plays g4, defend a pawn first. But now my rook invades, and at this point, there are just no defense at all. So rook c3, h5 I play as well, trying to weaken the pawn here. At this point, literally I think it's winning. Bishop d3, defend a pawn f5. I'm gonna take here, but no, I just want to exploit the pin in the back rank. Bishop e3, and at this point, everything is just winning. So obviously it's a nice win, right? When I managed to beat my opponent here, my legendary opponent, with black pieces. And that is such, a great performance by myself, right? So after this game, I'm sure that I got the rating performance of a player with the rating of 2800, which is incredible, right? And obviously, I'm having such a tournament. But sadly, my team didn't do that well, and you can see as well too that our fourth boards also lose here, and the result is once again tied. But still, it is a pretty unfortunate score for my team. But once again, I'm doing quite well and we can be happy about that, isn't it? So, that's it. And that is this game for you guys. I will make one more game in the recap series, which is game 10 against Team Spain, when I just drew a line P shot in also a very complex battle and try to explain the things. At this point, most of my teammates are tired, including me, but we're still trying to play for the team, for the shirt, for the spirit, for the fans, and obviously for everyone that is involved. So, let's try to review the game first here. I firmly believe that I think I play very strong and I got like maybe 95% or something like that. But overall, it was a nice game, right? I surprised him in opening. He went for a wrong plan and then I slowly took over the initiative. He didn't play precisely, didn't defend well, and I got the game, I think, in a lucky way. Isn't it? So, let's show you the game review, which I think will be done in a few seconds. Okay, and here we are. 99% game by me. Quite, impressive, isn't it? So once again, thank you guys here for watching. Hope you enjoyed the videos and see you in the next video later on. Thank you and peace.